This is a video about how to use the cd command in the CLI or command line interface. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm on the Mac using iTerm with ZSH, which is just personal preference, but this command should function the exact same in a Linux environment or a different shell like bash. So before you even get started with an IDE or integrated development environment, it can be helpful to get familiar with the CLI. And one of the most basic things to learn in the CLI is how to navigate around, normally to your Git repositories. And with that, the three most common uses for cd are cd just by itself with no flags, which defaults to the home directory. This is also equivalent to this that looks like we went nowhere, so let me go back to the root real quick and do this again. It takes me to the home directory. If I go back, if I just use cd by itself, again, that takes me to the home directory. And then, so since we're going between the root and home directory, we can go into the second use case, which is cd and a dash, which takes you to the previous directory that you were in. So previously we were in the root directory. So if I do this, it takes me to the root directory, and it even notates that here. And again, if we do cd dash, it takes us back to the home directory. The third use case is navigating to specific paths when you know either the folder name, or if you're trying to go up to the parent folder from the folder that you're in, or you can use relative and absolute paths, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Going back to the root directory, we'll use ls, which we're not covering here, but it's just to list what's in the folder. And if I wanted to go into home, that takes me into the home folder. Otherwise, if I wanted to go back up to the parent folder of this one, do cd ... If you didn't know, there's these two hidden folders inside each folder that help you navigate around. Dot points at the current folder, and ... points up at your parent folder. Let's talk briefly about absolute paths and relative paths. Absolute paths can be navigated to from any directory because it's essentially a complete directory path that can always be traced starting from the root or home directory, usually using the tilde as an alias for the home directory. An example of this on my local machine is this path, which whether I'm in my root or some other folder, I can successfully navigate there. Let me just show you that. So right now I'm in the root. This works. If we go into the home folder and run that absolute path again, it takes us straight there. A relative path, as the name implies, is a path relative to the current folder you're in. So let me convert this absolute path that we have to a relative path. And let me go in the home folder real quick. So this is a relative path to the same folder that I've been going to, and it will only work if I'm in the home folder. It takes me there. Now if I go to the root and try to use that relative path, get an error because that folder doesn't exist here. So that's just a quick rundown of absolute paths versus relative paths and how you can use them with the cd command. Thanks for watching. In my next video, I'll be talking about how to make and use aliases to cut down on some of the repetitive navigating we do in the CLI as developers.